Well, welcome back, everybody, for our next episode at the MacKenzie Network. And we're looking at careers from home, entrepreneurs from season to startup. So I have an amazing guest on this lady. She's just a beam of light. What she's done and her background in corporate America and helping nonprofits and women and I don't think there's a topic that you cannot approach this lady about. And she's so business savvy on so many different topics. So I'm going to introduce Krystylle Richardson, and she is the founder of Women of Innovation and Impact International. So Krystylle, thank you for joining us today. Where are you calling in from?
I am here from the Arizona area. Really, really great to be here with you, Deborah.
Yeah, so happy to have you. I know she's always busy. She's very much in the limelight and television and media. She's one of those people that are at every event, everything. She's got her microphone and her princess dress for all the fun galas that she does. She'll be telling you about some things that she has going on that's very exciting. So what I'd like to do, Krystylle, is just kind of ask you a few questions. And I would like to bring you back to, because we are talking about entrepreneurship. What got you? Let's go back to you being a little girl. Was there anything that led you into the entrepreneurship or into helping individuals? Anything that you dreamt of when you were a kid or felt like was your calling?
Yes, yes. And so thanks again for allowing me to just share just a little bit today and just giving all glory and honor to God, first of all, and to my parents who are no longer with us, but they raised my brother and I. He was 4 years older than me, and they raised both of us. We didn't use the word entrepreneur or kidpreneur back then, but that's what we were. So we had a paper route. We shoveled snow. We raked leaves. We painted houses. We clipped rose bushes. We did like all these different things to help out in the neighborhood. And yes, we got paid for some of them or got, donations. But we started out at a young age doing all of that. And so when I went to kindergarten, they sent me with my little plastic briefcase and said, you can be anything you want to be. You can do anything you want to do. And I believe them. And so that's how I started out. I was met with bullying like the first day of kindergarten on up through adulthood. And we can get into that a little bit, but it was my upbringing that started me out with all of these different jobs. So I've always had multiple streams of income, if you will, even if it was $5 here, $5 there growing up.
That's great. That's great. And so a little bit about your career path. Let's just say, I know that you have she's done some huge things in the career space. And so she's chosen a few different paths. She has a profit and she works a nonprofit. And let's talk a little bit about you getting started, since we've got the startup. So let's focus on the startup, starting your business, getting things going. But first, let's talk about the you leaving corporate America to start your own company, to start your own business, because there's so many that are trying to do that, and they've seen COVID and they're like going through stuff and they're like, hey, you know what? It's time. It's my time now to build my empire. So let's discuss a little bit on that topic if we could.
Yes. So it came about in a way that was not my choosing initially. And so I, had gone from I interviewed for an engineering position at a medical device company back in the 90s. And 2 weeks after I interviewed, the quality manager quit. And so since I had management experience through the various internships that I had with General Motors and Ford, it wasn't in medical devices, but I had that management experience. They offered me the manager's position. So right out of college, I didn't get the engineering position. I got offered the manager's position. From there, I went to director, global director, GE Healthcare, and I had like 7 different countries under me for several years, like 2.5 years. They brought in a CQO, Chief Quality Officer, who wanted to change everything. So the 11 people that got put into these global positions, little by little, she was basically putting them in other positions or letting them go. So I was the last in the last 5. So we all thought that we were safe, right? But I had spent so much time in China and some other areas. They wanted me to move to China. I was in Phoenix and I'm like, no, thank you. And then they wanted me to move to Milwaukee. And I'm like, I'm in Phoenix. No, thank you. So several weeks after that, they let me go on a Monday. And so on that Monday, I went to go play golf because I'm like, I really need to hit something. and Tuesday, I started up my consultant company. And by Wednesday, I had 2 full-time engagements. So I had severance coming in and 2 full-time engagements. I was calling a previous president, asking him to be a reference. And he's like, well, we actually need some help. And then another friend of mine had a consultant group and she needed some help. And so I had where that's how it started. I didn't even get to use any of the business cards and all of the stationery and things I had put together on that second day. So I say it's like the Father, Son, Holy Ghost, because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I had a number of streams of income coming in and started my consultancy. So I didn't like leave on purpose, but I left and it's been great ever since.
And, you know, sometimes I have a corporate America background too in management and in leadership. And one of the things I remember, I also got laid off, and the feeling of like, what am I going to do now? And it was like, I'm not ever going to let this happen again. I'm going to be in control of this. And sometimes we don't realize, but we can look at things, and those in the audience that maybe went through that and had some cuts, you might sit there and think, oh, this is horrible. Maybe it's something bigger around the corner that you don't realize, and you've been getting prepped up your entire life for something really big and massive. And it sounds like that's what's happened with you. It was the best thing that could happen.
And so I've been able to travel the world doing that. And I've been able to actually start other businesses that was not in the medical field, like what you're saying, the different things that I do in media, the different things that we already had our nonprofit, but I've been able to do more with our nonprofit because being where I had my own business and still doing consulting in the medical, part of what I did was medical device audits. And the reason why that's important is because during lunch or doing just casual conversation, during an audit, like I'm writing people up on things that they have that are deficient. They're like, well, what are you doing this summer? Or what are you going to be doing XYZ? And I'll mention I'm going on a mission. And they were like, well, we would be honored to be able to give you some items to take, give you some instrumentation to take on your mission. So the profit and the nonprofit came together, even in that instance, by accident. But it's not by accident. You know, God has a plan for everything. But yeah, one of the biggest engagements we had with telemedicine was a company that the president was just there at lunch and he mentioned that. And I'm like, that would be great. So we worked it out and we were able to take a number of things to be able to help do examinations. That particular time was in Ghana.
Okay. And do you know around approximately about how many people that you guys were able to help? I'm sure it was a lot. It's okay.
It was hundreds and hundreds because the one engagement was the one clinic was only supposed to be from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And it was 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. We were there the whole night giving examinations and people were lined up down the street. And I said to my team, you can go take a nap if you want. I'm staying here. These people have been staying in line and standing in line this whole time. We're going to stay until every single person has been seen. And so that's what we did. And it ended up being about 6:15 in the morning. So I slept good for a part of that morning, but I stayed the whole time.
You know, and that's really what it is. If we have the drive and the means and the time, that we're our whole thing. I know my purpose, and I know we talked about yours, is really saving lives and making a difference in the world, not just in the United States, but on a global scale, and having that ripple effect and making that impact. So tell me some of the big projects that you've got going on right now and what we can do to support you and what you're looking for, because you know, if we don't speak and talk, and this goes out to lots of viewers, and then people can come to my YouTube channel or they can go to the website. But I want to know right now, what is it that we can do to make an impact with you? What are you looking for that we can support? Maybe we can't do it, but I guarantee you somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody, and someone's watching right now that could cause, and just one of you could make that ripple effect on what Krystylle's working on. So tell us a little bit what we can do to help you.
Yeah, well, and thank you for this. And so, we're both in the same, I guess, arena of people, and Sharon Lecter, Greg Reed, and Don Green, and other people. And there's the book 3 Feet from Gold. And a lot of times we just don't even know that that's how close we are. And I have a chapter also in Greg Reed's book on power of proximity. And so if we put those two into place and help the next generation, for me, that's what it's all about. So yes, I do have the profit and the nonprofit. I do teach people how to go from using their creativity and innovation. My whole life, my whole thing that I do, Life Innovation Global. You mentioned Women of Innovation and Impact International. Everything has to do with innovation, how we use our creativity. So I do that on the business side in corporations, as well as with startup entrepreneurs. Part of this also is we have a branch related to homeless women. And we do a lot in our nonprofit, which is Full Color Movement International, and it's fullcolormovement.com. But we do a lot locally, and I call it local missions and foreign missions. Everyone can't necessarily leave the country or even wants to leave the country. And so instead of just calling it, outreach, I call it local missions. So anyone and everyone that would like to help with what we do to raise up that next generation of youth and young adults with our leadership and training and business programs, that would be great. Anyone who has a heart for women, whether they've been through domestic violence, if they've been through some kind of workplace, harassment, or if they're homeless or if they're single, we focus on women who basically have a hard time, and they need a hand up. Not just a hand out, they need a hand up. So providing not just money, but also education and resources. And how do you start your own business based on the creativity that's right here in your head? And so we all can be creative. It's just a matter of exercising that muscle. So we have foreign initiatives, we have youth initiatives, and women's initiatives that are part of the nonprofit Full Color Movement.
And is something that you would do with our audience here, possibly do a consultation with them on their wealth strategy where they're setting up for their business. But I really feel like a big one, and you're so heart-centered. And I mean, like she said, she spent from 6 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Well, she was literally at one of their centers interviewing people. What was it, a month ago? You got to interview me, and I appreciate that. But she was, right. I think, what was that, 2 days? And it was like 12 or 14 hours. And she literally had her commercial set. So her group knew when she had to go to the bathroom, because she was not going to leave. Like this woman, right.
I sat there.
when she, I keep it real, I keep it real. But when she's on to something, this is a leader who does not stop. This is somebody that if you guys are looking for, somebody, and Krystylle can't mentor everybody, but she has done an amazing job in getting out there and supporting people. So you've got some channels, you're all over them.
Yeah. And I have
people go to just kind of, if they're having a day and they're feeling like, oh my gosh, I need some boost today, where can they go?
Yeah. And so I have online courses that are launching 2022. One is unleashing your freedom formula. Everybody's freedom formula is different. And so you'll be able to contact me and get some information on that. And then the other one is designing your wealth formula. Again, how we bring in money to our families and to our businesses, and not just money, but wealth, because wealth is not just related to money. So designing your wealth formula, unleashing your freedom formula are two things that I have on the online courses. And you can just simply text the word JUMP, JUMP, to 26786. 26786. You can text the word jump and you can get my information, as well as maybe you can see my name on the screen, Krystylle Richardson, and go to KrystylleRichardson.com and get information as well. But texting jump is a very easy way to get to me. And with those online courses that are coming out, I have some people that are interested in those already. A big group that when I mentioned the title and just gave a little snippet, he was like, oh yes, we need to get this out to every single person in our organization of thousands and thousands of people. So it's a really, really great program. And I can't wait for 2022 so that everybody can jump.
I love it. I love it. And I was going to ask, and I don't know so much about this piece of it, but how have you been able to, because you're everywhere. I mean, I watch you and you're traveling here and here and here, and I don't think you sleep, honestly. I don't think you sleep. This woman just goes and goes. But what have you done as an entrepreneur and a businesswoman to be able to, because you're giving so much, to be able to take that time for you, that self-care? In fact, a lot of people doesn't know what self-care is. I know I didn't for a long time. I thought it was working out, and that was self-care, because, and it's so much deeper and goes so much deeper with that. But you're out there, you're seeing situations, we've talked about this, domestic violence, where literally people are running for their lives to get away. And that is a very hard thing, especially if you're an empath and you're somebody who, you could cry at the drop of a hat hearing somebody and you just want to give and give. How have you been able to not take that on completely? Or maybe you still haven't mastered this. We're all mastering this, but how have you been able to separate that, be able to get back to your life? You give and give, but that balance, and then maybe there is no balance, but what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So I have thoughts on it, because it's not something that, depending on how you are, you never actually really master it, right? And so I do have thoughts. So right. First, I've mentioned God a number of times, and so He's the one that helps to keep me grounded and centered, and just being able to have that prayer life and meditation. And so there is something, if anyone wants to text that number, jump to 26786, I can give you Thrive in 5. Thrive in 5. It's an ABCDE method that helps to get you centered and grounded. And a part of it too is just my beautiful, beautiful, wonderful husband of 30 years. In March, it'll be 30 years, just helping whenever I have times that I need to talk to him. But he's the same way, because we'll sometimes, quite frankly, being straight up and honest, we'll complain and we're like, oh my gosh, can you believe it? This, that, and the other. And, they called at what time? And then the very next day, if somebody calls 2:00 in the morning, we're right out the door and we'll go and we'll do it all over again, because that's just who we are. And so, mastering it is not necessarily something that I think is something that can be done. But what I do is I just take the time that I need. And sometimes it's just 5 minutes, like a 5-minute power nap, or just 10 minutes in my car. I love my little Miata. It's a 2008 Miata. And I have to get out to put the hood down and get out, to put it back up. And sometimes it starts and sometimes it doesn't, but I love it. And I just get in my car and I drive and I listen to music, or I get in my car and I'm driving down the road. And I'm like, I just scream, and you just let that energy out. One time I remember coming home and I just jumped out of my car, went straight through the house, straight out the back door, and jumped in the pool, clothes and everything. I just jumped in the pool and screaming underwater. Yeah.
You throw your clothes off and just jump in.
Dearest, did you hear what I just said? Let me say it again. I drove home, opened the door, went straight through my house, straight out to the pool, and jumped straight in.
Okay. Got it.
And so did you hear anything about any clothes coming off? No, you did not.
No, I didn't. Okay. No. I got it.
You have to do what you need to do. And so I play the piano, I teach dance. And so sometimes I'll go to my center, the studio, don't turn on the lights. It's just, in the dark, and I'll turn on the music and I'll just flow, and I'll just have that time with me by myself. And so I just do whatever it is that I need to do. And screaming in the car is really great.
love it. I
And just
love it.
having that time by yourself to just have the music up as loud as you want to have it. And then, might have some earaches the next day, but just having it permeate your body and just to be able to feel that beat. That's what keeps me going. And then, in the prayer during that time and just talking to God, having a wonderful husband. And I've only done that pool stunt one time, but I was just so worked up. And it's like, God, why? Because my husband talks about, and he introduces me sometime when I have speaking engagements. And he said, she is a person who treats the homeless person that she knows that she was just with the same as she treats the billionaires that she knows. She's the person that will cry, like there'll be a mountain of Kleenex because like I don't put it in the trash, like he'll come and get it up. He's so sweet. He'll get it up and put it in. Like I'll be sitting there just weeping and just praying and trying to see like, what is it that I can do for whoever it is? Now, I can't believe in a person more than they believe in themselves, but I sure can do whatever it is that I can do to give them a first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh chance sometimes. And then it's up to them. But I believe God put me here to help people to be the best version of themselves. And I'm going to do anything and everything that I can to help do that, but not step beyond the line of where I'm an enabler. But sometimes it gets almost to that. I'm like, okay, I have to let this go. And then now they have to walk on their own. So people have used my methods. The one is called Element 10. Mm-hmm. Because I believe that everyone should have at least 10 streams of income. And depending on what your creativity is, what your knowledge is, it might take you a while to get there so that you can be 6 figures, 7 figures. But everyone has a number of things that they can do to break that barrier and to provide for themselves and their family, plus have a give back model. So all of that together is what I do each and every day. And I just thank God that he's allowed me to be able to touch as many people as I have.
And that's really what it's about. It's, you can look at one way of doing something and set it up and this is something, you guys, it happens when people start making income and seeing things go. There's a side of them that comes in that can be competitive. It can be greedy. They can be the sweetest person. They got started, but their ego kicks in. Ego kicks in and you're like, what happened to this beautiful person that was so want to help? And now it's like, it's completely changed their language, the way they talk, all of that. How can we put ourselves in check, especially our ego, as we grow? I know one way is definitely our spiritual way, and that's connecting with God or whoever we believe that is our higher power. But what would you say to that?
I say always have an accountability partner or 2 or 3. So I just did a post in my group Above Your Best in Facebook, if anyone's interested in being a part of that accountability forum. And I asked people to just name one person who's that person that is in your life to keep you in check, put you in check, not just to cheer you on, but you need at least one person who will call you out if you need to be called out. And so right here on this show, I want to mention Danielle Howell Morris is my accountability person like that. And that's something that really helps, because we can't just be so full of ourselves that we just forget, where we came from, and forget that we were there, we were there too. And so I just really appreciate her. I appreciate all the people that I can call on like that, because we have, a lot of us have like a lot of cheerleaders. Oh, you're so great. Oh, you're this, you're that. Yeah. But am I really? Sometimes there's some things I need to work on too. And so I appreciate that.
Yeah. And that's constructive criticism. And that's a true leader and a true mentor, is somebody who isn't just the cheerleader all the time, but straight up talks to you, tells you things. And it's I've had that happen too. And I've been so irritated. I'm just like, I can't believe they would ever, I don't even see that. And then I'll go and I'll sit on it and I go, wow, I didn't even see that from that perspective. I didn't even
James
know
Dentley as well. James Dentley is one of those people for me.
He's fantastic. I love him. I absolutely love him. And he's got some TV show that you've been on too. I want to give him a shout out too.
Yeah, I'm on his network. I have shows on his network as well, JD3 TV.
Yeah. So there's shows everywhere. So if you were to say one thing that if you were to do this all over again in your life, and I don't know how old you were when you met your sweetheart, and you don't have to say, but that man, I think, and what's his name?
His name is Benjamin, and it'll be 30 years in March. And so I'm 57. So I met him a little bit ago.
Right. But that was probably, would you say that him coming into your life? I mean, I'm looking at a lot of business women and men are sitting here and they don't have the support of their spouse. And they're this close or 3 feet from gold, but maybe the money is not coming in yet, or the success is not coming in. Did you go through a little bit of that, or was it always just straight, oh, this is just, oh, we're going, or did it take a little bit of time to get you guys to go on the same path together?
Well, when we met, we were both already professionals in our
Got
career.
it.
But what transpired was me leaving corporate America to pursue being, the full-time consultant and the full-time person doing the various things that we do in our nonprofit, and then helping other people build their businesses. And so for that, we had to have an agreement. We had to have that he felt that it was okay for me to do. And so yeah, so it is, when you have a mate, you have to take those things into consideration. And so that's what I did. We had to make sure that we still had money for our family, for our bills. So I don't know if that answers your question, but
No,
it was
yeah,
a
because
transition.
everybody has a different story on that. But I think it's important to add that, because that's a huge part of being an entrepreneur, is having the support and not having to do it alone, and having the kids. And in this show, we've interviewed every type of person just about. And so I've been asking that question because I think the family unit is so important, and the support and the help goes so far and really can strengthen the marriage in a big way if two people are on the same page supporting each other.
Yeah, and even if you're not married, I mean, you still have to have where you build up that team, that tribe, that support mechanism, and that foundation. So yes, I had him, and when I was out of the country, he would take care of our two girls. We have two daughters; they're 26 and 28 right now, and so they were little, they were young, and so he would have to take care of them. He'd have to braid their hair and get them ready, and he would go so slow, so meticulous to not to get it right, but that's the only way that he could do it, is that each braid was perfect. And so they would get so many compliments when I did it too, but they would get compliments when he did it, because it was so perfect. And so having people in your life, you can't do it alone. Everyone doesn't have a mate, like that, but you need to have people in your life that can help support you. There's another young lady right now, she's 30 something, and her mom, is her support, and there's several other people. So that's part of what I do in my business as well, Deborah, is help to build up support mechanisms for people who don't have support, so that they can follow their dream and use their creativity to do what it is that they need to do in business, by having our foundational platform in place. So we use people within our group as some of that foundation for people, so that they can concentrate their thoughts and their creativity on their business. It's a really, really great model.
I love it. I love it so much. Well, I thank your husband. I hope to meet him one day. I haven't had the honor and the pleasure of meeting him, but I definitely want to go up and give him a big hug and say thank you for being so supportive of this woman, because you're both making such an impact in people's lives. And I love it. So Krystylle Richardson, folks, we're going to have to go ahead. Thank you so much for joining. We're going to have to go ahead and move on today, because we're running out of time here.
No
But
problem.
I just want everybody to know we're going to have all her information, and we'll have everything on the MacKenzie Network, or the MacKenzie Global Network. You can go to my website, find that, scroll in, reach out. You've heard of some of the other sources that she has for you to find her. And just remember, everybody remember, if nothing else about the MacKenzie Network, this is our whole vision, kind of mission, vision statement, I guess we could say, is that every connection creates an impact. So thank you guys very much, and I'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you.
Bye.